Hi, my name's Shane. I use she and her pronouns, and this is Fate of the Fairy Queen session, I think number 8. We're quite a way into this quarterly game, maybe 9. Fate of the Fairy Queen is a reskin of Fate of Cthulhu from Evil Hat Games, and this series was organized as part of the Gauntlet gaming calendar. If you're not familiar, Gauntlet is an online community that plays and organizes and talks about a whole lot of Indian story games, OSR games, things like that. If you'd like to find out more or come play a game with us, check out gauntlet-rpg.com or at gauntletrpg on Twitter. And if you're watching this around the time that it goes up or listening to it, we have GCOG coming up at the end of March, which is Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend. And that's set up as an opportunity for people who are new to the community to come and try out a game, a one-shot or a short game like that. And there are definitely still some vacancies at the time that we're talking. I know I have a vacancy in one of my games. I have a dreadful curse when it comes to filling my GCOG game, so it'd be very welcome for someone listening to this to jump in. That said, let's have a quick round of character introductions. Just your, player and character introductions. So your name and pronouns, your character's name and pronouns, anything that you want to tell us about yourself and them. And also, because we hit the end of an event last session, if you can tell us about any advances that you've taken or what's changed for your character. So, Lowell, can I get you to go first?
Sure. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and I'm running Fadim Bekara, she, her. And so she's still suffering that injury. I believe that moderate consequence should clear at the end of this session, given the way that healing works. So she's still got that as an aspect that can be invoked on her. I didn't buy a new stunt. I took my refresh up to 6. I may buy a new stunt, but I haven't quite decided. For the 2+1s, I carefully went through and calculated, made sure my pyramid still stands. But I ended up, I took my will to 2 from 1, and I took my burglary up to 3. And just so that some of my more practical skills, and since I had to do a bunch of will rolls over the last couple of sessions and was not great at it, I wanted to support that. And I've still got a couple ticks on my enchantment track there. I haven't yet filled that up, but that may happen here as we get towards the end. So that's who I am.
All right, thank you. Jose.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jose, and my pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Dr. C, Alonso Cifuentes, a psychiatrist from the present day who's joined this band of time travelers to stop the catastrophe of the takeover of the Fairy Queen. In terms of his recent development, I raised his contacts, I believe, to 2 and his resources to 1. And fictionally, I think what's happened is, well, Dr. C recently became a fugitive along with the rest of the group. But some of his old patients have who have kind of a web presence talking about fairy conspiracies online have adopted him as kind of their mascot, and so he might be able to rely on them at times for some contacts, and maybe even some, I don't know, maybe a GoFundMe campaign.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Yeah. So his contacts and his and resources went up a little bit. And I also changed an aspect.
Cool.
So that's more significant. So I transformed the Sleeping Beauty aspect into the Queen's nemesis, because that seems to be a theme that's really coming out strongly, is that she really hates Dr. C. I figured I should put that into the aspects since it seems important.
That's cool. I love that. Thank you. And Kyle.
Hi, I'm Kyle, he, they. Playing Maeve, she, her. She's a turncoat changeling infiltrator. I also bumped my refresh up to 6. I'm not sure if I'm going to take a stunt. I'm still thinking that over. For skills, I increased my shoot to 4 and my stealth to 2.
Cool. So if any of you do decide to take a stunt with your refresh anytime like that, that's fine. Just let me know. You're very welcome to do it at an opportune moment when you suddenly realize a stunt would help. That's totally fine. A few things before we get started. Remember to refresh your fate points if they're below your refresh value. Clear your stress. Like Lowell mentioned, if you started recovering from a moderate consequence last session, that will fully clear at the end of today's session. It takes at least a full session. And remember, as always, we're using a set of safety tools. You can, oh, sorry, I'm just going to check. Oh no, sorry. I'm just going to pause the recording for 1 sec. Sorry, I just paused the recording because I got a message from one of our regular players, Matt, that they can't make it today. So last time well, really it was Matt's character Bear, but you looked in Baba Yaga's spell book for some time magic. So I have added a couple of spells to the sorcery tab if you want to check those. There's one for kind of seeing the future and getting a boost out of that. And there's a ritual that will let you actually travel through time. And I also added the rules for rituals, which are kind of easier if you do them in a group with other people who have a law of at least +1. Today, we are starting the 4th penultimate event of this game, the last event before the rise of the Queen herself. This event is called the Wild Hunt. Its timeline aspect is the Queen's servants are powerful and ruthless. And it's going to take place in a small town called Mills Creek at the foot of Owl's Head Mountain in West Virginia. And what you'll know heading into this is that it's a tiny town. There's about 300 people living there, almost all of them involved in the logging industry or working at the mill a couple of towns over. You know this area, this town, but really the area, the mountain, everything has a history of unexplained phenomena and disappearances and UFO sightings and weird lights in the sky, all that kind of good stuff. It has its own cryptid called the Owl's Head Devil, which some people claim to have seen. You have used the Owl's Head Devil name quite a bit, claimed to various people that you were acting on its behalf. So excited to see how that is going to turn out for you. Your enemy here, or your kind of capital E or capital F foe in the timeline, is the Queen's Huntsman. And those of you from the future remember him as the feared leader of her wild hunt, some of her most ruthless and powerful servants. And you know that he or someone that kind of looked and acted like him turned up in Mills Creek in this historical moment, killing lots of people, destroying property. And although those reports were largely dismissed because, there's already so many conspiracy theories about this town and the weird things that are supposed to have happened here, you think there could be something to it, although you don't know why he would turn up in this weird little town at this time. So I wanted to start off today with you arriving in Mills Creek. I guess I'll just check before we do that. Is there anything that you wanted to finish up in New York before hitting the road?
Yes.
All right. Tell us.
I am going to either a like low end discount pawn shop electronics place, or the equivalent of a like thrift store, and I am getting pieces for my supernatural podcaster costume. Essentially, I want to have the mic. I want to have what people will think will be like an electronic kit, of stuff, and just have things that make my costume look like I'm a podcaster.
Okay, that makes sense. Maeve and Dr. C, I'll ask you both if there's any preparations you're making, and also I guess are you doing something to travel incognito, given that you are, in particular, the two of you, the wanted fugitives of the group? Dr. C, what about you?
Geez. I guess the most radical thing Dr. C could do is maybe shave his porn stash off, but that seems like so extreme.
Yeah.
A wig, that's a possibility. Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, like a dyed blonde wig, like really over the top. That'll look really cheesy. Yeah, I like that.
Excellent. And is there anything else that you want to do in New York before we move on to the event?
No, just get the hell out of New York because I think
Smart.
we've overstayed our welcome now.
All right. And what about you, Maeve?
I think I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna get a wig, something a lot more normal looking. Definitely like I think the eye patch is kind of conspicuous, so I think I'm just gonna get some big sunglasses and just do my best to get like a normal person uniform and be like the beleaguered assistant to Lowell's podcaster.
Nice. All right. So as you arrive in Mills Creek, Fadim, you feel so good. Like all the time in New York and Berlin, just the kind of ambient magic around from what you've been dealing with. There's been this kind of like, hay fevery, allergy type feelings. But something about, maybe it's just the mountain air, but you feel like you can breathe, your sinuses are clear. It feels pretty good. And I think that where we might actually start is, let's say you've pulled up at a truck stop just outside of town and you have a chance now to sort of gather your thoughts, talk about any research that you've done about the town or what's been going on here. And then we'll go from there. Can I ask, which of you I assume that you've driven out here, you got a car somehow. Who was driving?
I think we decided that Maeve was the driver because she had her learning permit.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'll ask Maeve, like what time of day do you pull up at this truck stop?
Probably, I don't know, whenever the traffic would be heaviest, just to sort of help blend in.
Okay. I don't think it's going to be especially heavy anytime. So let's say that's mid-afternoon. Does that work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's a pretty standard truck stop. Well, I guess I have a picture of what a truck stop means in Australia, and I worry sometimes that my references are quite different to yours. What I'm picturing is that there's like petrol pumps, there's a little petrol station, there's somewhere you can get coffee, there's a few tables, there's probably a Bain Marie, a few truckers meeting up on their break or while they get some coffee, a couple of tourists on their way through town. That's what I'm picturing.
What is a Bain Marie?
So in a truck stop or like Greasy Spoon, like something like a low-end diner, it's the bit where they have like a tray of chips and dim sims and potato cakes and like hot food that's been sitting there for a couple of hours and it's kept warm in the Bain Marie under glass.
Like the sterno things that we have.
What did you call it?
Sterno.
Okay.
or under a heat lamp in the US.
Yeah, that's the most typical, is under the heat lamps.
Yeah, so something, that's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, that works.
All right. So is there anything that any of you have like Googled or researched about the town or any sort of, planning or preparation like that? Or
Well, how about you all do that lore academic thing that you can do that I cannot, and maybe I'll go chat with some people just to see if I can at the truck stop to hear the local gossip.
All right, well, let's start with a lore roll then. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for? I think Dr. C is the best at lore out of the people who are here.
I think so. Oh, I have to open the dice roller, sorry. Okay. And what am I looking for? So we're in a small town. We know that the huntsman or we have some sense that the huntsman might appear here. We know the unusual circumstances have been taking place within this town. Maybe I'm looking for lore that's specific. We're in West Virginia. Is that where we're at? Maybe I'm looking for particular lore that's specific to this. So I guess are we in the Appalachians? In that area, and because I know there is a lot of lore there about beings maybe that live there. Oh, maybe I'm trying to figure out something about the Owl's Head Devil.
Mhm.
Hey, that's a good idea. Our friend, our patron.
All right.
All right, let's see what I
Also,
got.
make a law roll. I think Maeve, you can help because you have law, right, for a +1. So regardless of what you roll, I'm going to give you basic information that is easily accessible. And I think there's probably a difficulty. Well, I think I'll just give you extra information if you roll well, as opposed to
Okay.
setting a specific difficulty. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
So what I got. It's a 4.
All right. So the Owl's Head Devil. You find some blurry photos, some outlandish stories. It's described sometimes as this kind of ape-like creature with large horns. Some people blame it for disappearances, things like that. Nobody has ever gotten like a clear picture or any other kind of clear evidence of it. People have claimed to find its footprints, things like that. There are the first rumors, probably the first stories about it probably go back maybe to like the 50s. Logging camps that claim to have found weird footprints, things like that. But because you rolled quite well, the thing that you really notice is that there's like a qualitative difference in the sightings and the reports. The first like 20, 30, whatever years of I just like any other cryptid that is kind of obviously fake, not real, like, just a local rumor. But over the last 18 years or so, there are many more sightings or unexplained phenomena. So you think that something changed 18 years ago. What that is, you're not sure, but there's definitely been something in the mountain, on the mountain, over the last, 15 to 20 years. That there have been disappearances that you can't really account for. That's where the clearest of the blurry photos are from. It really seems like something changed then.
And the disappearances are people who have like hikers or something
Yeah,
like that
hikers
have gone missing.
Mostly hikers, yeah. Obviously it could be natural, but just like statistically it seems like something odd is happening over that period. Now before we go on, sorry, bear with me for one sec. I would like to offer a compel on your strange twists of fate trouble. So I think it would be a strange twist of fate if you've come all this way to try and find the huntsman and the huntsman is already in this truck stop. What do you think?
That would be a strange twist of fate.
You'll take a fate point?
Yep. Sitting
All right.
at the on a stool at the diner.
All right. So in that case, Maeve, like we've established that you have some sensitivity to this sort of stuff, so you can feel that there is powerful fae figure in this, like right here. As you look around, you see, like there's a couple of wait staff. There's a cook somewhere in the back. There's 2 or 3 truckers and a handful of tourists. Nobody leaps out to you as obviously being the huntsman or fae. So whoever it is in some sort of disguise, but you can feel that there's something here.
Okay. Could I roll notice to try to like track down who this person is, or would that be investigate?
Yeah, you can roll to notice. All right, I'm gonna roll opposition for this one. All right. Do you want to use a fate point?
It's early, but I've got a bunch. Sure. Yeah, let me check if there's a timeline aspect that's useful here. Would forewarned is forearmed work? Because I mean, we know that there's a huntsman in the area.
Yeah, I totally buy that. All right. So I guess then what you see, there is pretty unassuming looking little guy. Looks, kind of like a drifter. Hunched over a coffee that he doesn't really look like he can pay for. But that you sense that the Fey magic is strong with him. That's clearly a glamour, and underneath it all, you sense you sense the huntsman. You've probably encountered him in the future. That's definitely him. Fadim, I know that you talked about going around to talk to people about local gossip. Do you still want to do that in the circumstances, or?
Yeah, I in fact I wanted to ask. I'm playing up my sort of whatever German accent, like a little bit of that I can do, and that I'm with this German podcast, and we're looking into the strange things here, and also asking, because this is very American, about the hunting. And can you tell me about what the hunting is like in the area and that kind of thing? So I am kind of angling on that topic, the weird stuff and hunting, like trying to see if anybody like has a correlation between those two things.
Yeah, and most of the people in the truck stop are probably tourists or passing through. So would you be focusing on the staff or just anyone who's happens to be here?
Staff and people who don't look like tourists.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that pretty much breaks down as either this drifter looking fella. I'm not sure if he doesn't look like a tourist, but maybe doesn't look like a local either in particular, or the wait staff.
Well, we'll start with the staff.
Okay. So there's two waitresses. One's mostly in the back, but you get talking to a middle-aged woman named Dawn. She's sort of visibly tired and a bit bored. And I think that she will probably take to, being asked some questions. It's going to liven up her day a little bit. So do you want to, you just trying to see what they can tell you?
Yeah, this is investigate. I think this is the kind of the shop talk kind of thing.
Yeah. Go ahead and just roll to investigate with a difficulty of 2.
Okay. So that's a 3.
Okay. So yeah, she tells you a bit about the hunting. I as a GM have no idea what you would really hunt in the mountains of West Virginia. I'm going to just say that she tells you some normal things about that. She definitely can tell you a bit about, the strange lights that she's seen up there over the mountains since she was a girl. A weird story that her uncle had. About this shape in the darkness up on the mountain one time. Probably lots of stories about deer hunting and things like that. Is there anything more specific that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I will say I had heard, though no one was very clear about what it was when I was reading, that something happened 18 years ago. It would have been when you were very, very young.
She kind of scratches her head about that. She doesn't seem to know what you're talking about at all.
Maybe they were wrong.
Maeve and Dr. C, well, at least Maeve, Dr. C as well, if Maeve has told you about the huntsman. The drifter is like staring daggers into Fadim's back at this point, clearly listening to what's going on and clearly unsettled, like doesn't look at all happy that someone is asking these kind of questions at this moment. Fadim, as you're talking to Dawn, the other waitress wheels back around. You immediately recognize her as being Fae. There's no question. She is uncannily beautiful. She has a Fae quality, like you can't really define it, but you've seen it often enough. She's wearing just the waitress uniform, but still radiant and, much younger, and kind of looks curiously at what's going on. And I think Dawn will just sort of explain, podcast, whatnot.
Yes, yes. Like the strange things, like the weird stories, and the in search of, and the Grimm's fairy tales, and those kinds of things.
She looks at you a bit blankly, but she smiles warmly and says, "Oh, that all sounds very interesting. Sorry, I'm just going
Do
to go."
you know anything? Any tales?
I'm sorry. No, I've got to get some coffee out to these guys over here.
Okay.
And Maeve and Dr. C, you see that this drifter shatters his coffee cup as he sees that Fadim is talking to the waitress, the younger waitress.
I can imagine that Dr. C, that when Maeve told Dr. C that he was sitting over there, Dr. C has been nursing his coffee and his muffin. Of course, he has to have a muffin, but watching carefully the huntsman, I guess. Let's call him that, or the disguised huntsman, trying to get a sense of what's going on with him, and since he's obviously very fixated on Fadim and showing a lot of emotion, I'm trying to get a read on him, on whether he's here to cause trouble or whether he's going to attack Fadim, or anything I can about his intentions.
Okay.
I might be trying to create an advantage. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to. I mean, it sounds like you're using empathy, either to overcome, to try and work out what his intentions are, or to create an advantage. Either of those, I think, makes sense.
Okay, so either way, it's an empathy roll, right? Overcomes, as opposed to, so advantages will create aspects, right?
With free invokes.
With free invokes. Overcomes, just there's something to be
It's going to give
overcome.
you information, yeah.
Give me information. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe information is what I'm after here. So maybe it's an overcome.
All right.
All right.
So he's going to roll opposition using his will, but go ahead.
Watch. This one. All right. And I'm using empathy. Oh, it's just a 4 as well. Okay. It's a 4.
All right. He'll roll opposition using will. Oh, that's a 5.
Oh. Let's see.
Do you want to do anything about that?
Yeah, I think I've got a surfeit of fate points at the moment. So I might as well use one. Let me just 1 second. I never look at the timeline. Aspects.
Oh, and we should put a tick for Maeve's use of the timeline.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll put that on.
I just oops, sorry.
No, I got it. You got it.
I got it. Okay. Is it left to right, right to left? Yeah, I don't know if any of these will help me out. So I'll just use my high concept, psychiatrist, and spend a fate point to I'm used to looking at people who are upset about things and figuring out where they're coming from.
Yeah, so I think that what you figure out is that he has come here, whatever he's come here for, is to do with that younger waitress who, I mean, she probably doesn't register as Fae to you. Like, you don't, that's not a distinction that you'd make, but she definitely strikes you as astoundingly beautiful for a waitress in a truck stop in the middle of nowhere. He's here for her, and he is disturbed because he didn't expect there to be anyone else here for her. You don't think that he has decided on violence at this point, but you think he is definitely weighing the possibility. And as you think about this, he will get up from his chair and start to shuffle towards Fadim.
And is he, can I tell whether he's aware of Maeve and or is he just very focused on Fadim?
He seems very focused on Fadim right now.
Okay.
Maeve, are you doing anything while this goes on?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna like whisper to Dr. C, like, if this goes bad, get Fake Demon yourself out of here, and go in and just sort of like bump into the huntsman and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry there. I didn't mean to do that. Here, let me make it up to you. I can get you some new coffee. How's it going?" And just try to get him into conversation. Like, "Oh, yeah, I'm following around this podcaster. What's your gig like? How are things with you?" Just trying to get information, or just
All right.
mostly seem harmless or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think you probably roll to deceive
Sounds good.
to overcome using deceive, and he'll roll a position. All right.
Got a 1.
All right. I'm just trying to work out what he would use to try and see through you. I guess.
I think it's usually empathy to look
Alright.
through deceive.
Okay, that works for me. Whew, he has rolled quite well. That's a 3. You can bring that up to a tie using one fate point to invoke an aspect, or you can try and bring it up to a success. What would you like to do?
What happens on a tie with an overcome?
That is a good question. It's I think that you can choose to fail but take a boost, or succeed with a minor cost.
Okay, yeah, I'll spend a aspect on my or a fate point on my changeling infiltrator aspect to succeed in a minor cost or whatever.
Okay, so I think that the minor cost is going to be that if any trouble breaks out, you're going to be his first target now. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good.
All right. So he turns around quite distracted. He sort of sputters at you. Sorry, podcast. What?
Oh yeah, it's this thing. They're big now. It's like a radio show, but on the internet.
What do you explain?
And I'll just get into like this super banal and tedious, like, "Oh yeah, I don't really like my gig either, but it just, yeah."
All right. So he will listen. He looks distracted. He keeps like glancing around at Fadim, at the waitress, everyone else in the diner. Now he's kind of scanning everything. Fadim, what do you do while this is happening? You see that Maeve has kind of intercepted this weird little guy who was coming toward you.
Let's see. I will, since that pretty waitress has moved away, I will say to this older waitress, I would say, "Is she a model?"
She kind of chuckles. She says, "No, I mean, can you believe that she sticks around this little town?
Is she
could make a
from
fortune."
here?
Yeah. Born and raised.
What? Oh, is her whole family look like that?
No. You would never guess that her parents, I mean, they're lovely people. They're regular folks though,
No, I did not mean, it's just it's very unusual. It's like a film where the actress is there and they make her up to look like she's supposed to be frumpy, but there's no way that she can look the frumpy.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Yeah, so I'm kind of making a big deal of that.
You get the impression that you're far from the first person to act this way.
Probably not. and I'm going to maintain my position, just so I can keep half an ear out with Maeve and Coffee Drifter to see what's going on.
Dr. C, what are you doing?
So did the pretty one, the pretty waitress number 2, did she come over to fill up my coffee,
Yeah, sure. And I mean, you see that she has a name tag that says Eileen as she comes to fill it up.
Eileen. So I think rocking his bleach blonde wig, Dr. C is going to pour on the charm with Eileen and say, "Wow, I've never been served coffee by someone so beautiful before."
She chuckles a little. That's very kind of you to say.
And this is the best blueberry muffin I have ever tasted, I must say.
Well,
And I
now
don't
I
say
know
that
you're.
lightly.
Now I know you're lying.
Do you like blueberry muffins? Are you a connoisseur?
Yeah,
I've had some bad ones in my life.
they're fine, I guess.
My friend over there is doing her podcast on the local legends, and I'm just here making sure she doesn't make any cultural faux pas in the United States.
You're from New York?
I am from New York. We've just come down from New York
I've always
directly.
wanted to visit.
Really? You should come. It's an exciting city, and there's so much to see.
That's what everyone says.
Have you grown up here only?
Yeah, I've never made it out of the town.
Oh, you are local, born and bred.
That's right.
We've just come from New York, and before that, we were in Berlin. That was very exciting. I'd never been to Berlin before.
She has this dreamy look in her eyes. Like you can see that she really does want to get out of her hometown.
So what's your plan for getting out of here, Eileen?
I don't know. I mean, my parents, they're very protective. They warn me about it. I've been trying to put away some money working here. Hopefully one day soon I'll have enough money for a bus ticket.
Goodness. So you were telling me that there's never been a modeling agent scout come through this truck stop and tell you that you have a career in modeling waiting for you? I find that hard to believe.
She blushes and chuckles. Well, now I've got to be on my way. Everyone else needs coffee as well.
Very well, you go on your way, but don't give up your dreams. Maybe when we head back to New York, we can take you with us. You wouldn't even need to buy the plane ticket or the bus ticket.
She nods and moves on her way. So Maeve, at some point during your monologue about what podcasts are, the huntsman says, "Well, I've got a story I could tell you. Why don't you set up that recording equipment right over here?"
Of course, absolutely. Anything you have to share. And I pull out the tape recorder and start it up. Well, actually, no, it'd be a digital, not tape, but
Well, you're muted.
Probably just your phone. You can use that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
He looks at it a bit curiously, like he hasn't really seen one before. And he tells his story, and he looks at the two of you quite intently in the eye as he tells you. Story about a queen when she was young, before she married the king. She had an affair with someone, it doesn't really matter, and gave birth to a child. And it didn't really matter to her at the time, but once she became queen, she couldn't let that firstborn child live, that heir who might one day challenge her rule. So the queen sent her strongest warrior to kill the child. And as the huntsman says this, he looks both of you intently in the eye to see if you react to that. Do either of you react?
I'm going to do my best to keep a straight face.
Okay.
I'm going to smile. I'm just so excited by the story. And this is a local story?
This is a story from far away from here.
Like Massachusetts?
Do you want to roll to deceive to see if you can convince him? Whichever of you has the better deception.
Absolutely.
That would be me, I
That'd
think.
be you.
Cool.
You're much better at lying than I am.
0.
I think I'm going to let him use will for this because he is much more focused on seeing through the deception now. All right, so he doesn't buy what you're telling him at all. That's a 4. Do you want to do anything with fate points or aspects here?
Yeah, I'm gonna take my chances on spend a fate point on my infiltrator aspect to reroll. 7.
Nice.
What the what?
That was
Nice.
amazing. So yeah, you succeed with style. So you convince him and you get a boost. If you want to give the boost a name, just as a temporary aspect that you can only use once for free. I did put a West Virginia tab in the keeper. Not the most inspiring name for a tab, I guess. But, just if you need to list any aspects that you're using and stuff. All right. So he seems to be visibly calmed when neither of you react to what he's saying. And then he says, look, you have to excuse me. I broke my coffee cup. I'm going to go get another. And he
No, let me get that for you. It is the least that I can do. And I stand up and go get him another cup of coffee.
All right. So he pretty much has finished what he has to say now. He wishes you both well in your internet radio thing.
Is he heading out the door?
No, he's not going anywhere.
Okay.
He watches to see what the two of you will do. What will the two of you do?
I think I will stand up and I will thank him, and I will take the coffee cup. I guess I'm assuming like heavy mugs here. And then I am going to bring it down on his fucking forehead as hard as I fucking can. I'm going to make him break cover here. And let's see what happens.
Well, roll to attack. Let's kick it off.
Okay. So I actually have a stunt for this.
Well, actually, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt because I told you to attack, but let's just fill out the scene a little bit in terms of its aspects and zones.
I imagine, yeah. And I imagine I've stood up, got that thing. So I have a little bit of like standing over with that. So yeah. Because this is going to be, I don't think we're going to take him here, but I want him to reveal himself at this point.
All right. So I'm going to put a couple of zones, the truck stop itself, by which I mean the inside, and then the petrol pumps as the kind of outside area. So
and the 7-Eleven / mini mart that's there is probably another zone.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Does anyone have any suggestions for just sort of neutral type aspects that might be there? I guess the truck stop, we have like patrons and tables sitting around.
I mean, there'd be a bunch of petrol in the tanks outside. Petrol everywhere.
Petrol everywhere is an amazing aspect. So let's do that.
For the mini mart, I like shelves and racks.
Yeah. All right. I think that's probably enough unless there's anything else that anyone wants to add. Dr. C, do you want to chuck an aspect on any of those?
No, maybe later on as we're into the scene, maybe I'll pop something else in. Yeah.
Oh, actually, you know what I want for the truck stop? Since it is a restaurant, I would like hot griddle.
Hot griddle.
Nice. And I guess I'll pop Eileen in the initiative order as well.
Those Baño Marias, the bain maries are full of boiling water, right?
Yeah.
That too. That might fit under hot griddles.
All right. So look, we're at the top of the hour. Let's break here, and we'll come
Good
back
point.
and see how well Maeve brings that cup down on the huntsman's head. And we'll come back in
Like,
about
I'm
10.
always doing this when we get people together in restaurants. So there we go.
See you in 10.
Awesome.
All right, are we all ready to keep going? Cool. All right, so for Deem, it sounds like what you're doing is an overcome using fight to force him to drop his guys rather than an attack per se. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's more important to me than anything.
Right.
Especially, I want to make sure that that waitress, the young waitress, is here to see that.
Okay.
Um,
Well, yeah, go ahead and roll to overcome using fight. I know you have a stunt that lets you add a bonus on your sort of sneak attack round.
okay, so I'm going to roll. Oh, I had to refresh. So my dice and 1, 2, 6. That
Right.
is a 7.
Well, the huntsman will roll to. Oh, you succeed with style, so you create a boost, and you do force him to reveal his true form. So I imagine like a kind of like clap of thunder as the mortal guise falls away, and everyone in the diner sort of staggers backwards wherever they are, as they see this hulking figure clad in plate mail armor, face barely visible, with a massive sword strapped to his back.
And I say, we meet again for the first time.
And who do you pass the initiative to?
I want my companions to have the maximal amount of choices here, so I'm going to pass it to the huntsman.
All right. The huntsman will look like he is thinking about cutting you down where you stand, but instead he quickly walks away from you. He grabs the waitress Eileen by the collar, lifts her over his shoulder.
I would like to try to resist that if I can.
Yeah, I don't really know if there's a mechanic to like make a savings throw kind of move type.
It's a defend, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And in fact, how about this? I'll spend that boost to say positionally, I've kind of got him so that he has to go past. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. So he's gonna, well, I guess he'll use athletics to try and attack. You can make the defend roll, probably using athletics, maybe fight.
I will use fight.
All right.
Because that will be my tactic here.
All right. So I'm going to make the attack roll for him to put. Oh, that's a 7. So
that's a 7.
7 to get her up onto his shoulder.
I am going to invoke my shield maiden for a reroll here.
All right.
That's a first spend. Because I'm imagining there's going to be more spends here in a moment. So that's at 5. So a reroll. So that gets me to a 4.
So he's still succeeding with style at this point.
In that case, I think I am going to.
I mean, there's still a boost on clueless podcasters if you want to,
Yeah,
work in the fact that he's still a bit surprised.
Yeah, I think he's still that, and I do think forewarned is forearmed is going to be my point spend to take myself to an 8.
All right. He will spend a fate point to invoke the Queen's most feared enforcer aspect, which brings him back up to to +1 ahead of you.
Then I will spend. I am saving this woman. I am dutiful in service. I'm putting myself in the way. This is actually what I'm good at. So I will spend another fate point. Take myself up to a +1.
Am I right that that's one of your enchanted aspects? So that will count as a ripple for, a checkbox for the Queen?
Yeah, it will.
All right. All right. Look, he is very motivated right now. He is going to spend another fate point to invoke the aspect the Queen's servants are ruthless and powerful, bringing him again back to a +1 ahead of you.
Then I am going to spend another fate point to invoke. This is the, get this right here. Don't think I can hit another one on the timeline track, but let's invoke the patrons and tables. Like, I think that I've got some physical features here that are going to make it difficult for him to kind of lunge past and get the advantage.
All right. He's gonna spend another fate point to invoke the aspect no more happily ever after, because this is not going to end well. I'm down to my last fate point, FYI, if you want to factor that into your decisions here.
I think that done that. I think that part of the reason I'm doing this kind of like I am going all out is that repeatedly Maeve has been the one who has been the brutal, jumping up, doing the thing, doing what I really considered my role in this group. And so I think that's motivating me here to like, I'm going to stop him. Like, I cannot fail here,
right.
You know, or else I'm truly have screwed things up.
All right. Well, I am going to spend my last fate point out of fate points for this scene. The huntsman is going to invoke your allergic to magic aspect, because he is a powerful magical being, and the clear-headedness you felt in West Virginia has, well, around Mills Creek, has rapidly faded as you come face to face with him.
Then I will spend my last fate point to resist.
All right.
I've never burned fate points through so early. This is wondrous.
And what does it look like?
I think it is that there's that push back and forth, and he's big, and the tables are there, and I think there is a moment where I'm sort of David and Goliath, and then I knock him back and down, and I go, "Not this day. Get her out of here," I shout.
The huntsman turns to the waitress Eileen and says, "If you let them take you from here, you will die." And he will pass the initiative too. I mean, I put her in the order, but I don't think she's going to do anything. So he passes it to Eileen. She is totally unsure what to do. Doesn't take any action on this turn. And I think she passes the initiative to Dr. C, who at least was nice to her before.
So Dr. C will attempt to convince her to come with him out through the kitchen. Maybe we're next to the entrance to the kitchen, and he'll say, his mission is to kill you. You have to come out. We have to get out of here. And I'm not sure what skill that would be, actually, to try to
I think, empathy seems to make sense.
Okay. Well, that's a good one for me. It's a 5.
All right. I'm going to roll a position for her, but I don't really see that she won't go for that. All right. So you get a boost, which you can name, because you succeed with style. And she kind of like nods. She's in she's a bit shocked about what's going on, but she will, she'll come with you if the nice man from New York is going to take her away from the terrifying figure with a giant
terrifying
sword.
monster that just tried to assault her.
And the two of you can move to a different zone. You want to
Yeah.
head out to the petrol pumps? It's probably where your car is. Does
Yeah.
that sound right?
Sounds good.
All right. So the two of you leave the zone. Maeve, it'll be your turn next because you're the last one in the initiative.
All right. Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
sorry,
pull up.
before you take an action, can you make it? This won't take up your turn, but just make an overcome action using law.
Ooh, not my strong suit.
All right. Never mind. Just whatever you were gonna do.
Okay. I pull out my guns and just start shooting the huntsman.
All right. Well, make your attack roll.
Yeah. 5. That's better.
He'll roll to defend. You don't really succeed with silent attack, but you do 3 points of inflict 3 points of stress. He has no fate points to use, so he'll eat those. Let's see. All right.
Can I spend I like to spend a fate point on always have a go bag because I'm just pouring ammo into him to yeah.
To bring that up to 5 points of stress. All right. He's really like taking a beating from the shots. They're maybe ricocheting off his armor, but they're probably starting to penetrate, starting to rip holes into it, reveal the mystical void beneath. Do you want to use another fate point? Are you satisfied with that amount of damage?
Go big or go home. I'm gonna spend it on the another fate point on my infiltrator aspect because I'm kind of catching him by surprise.
Okay. All right. He'll have to use one of his consequence slots for that. So his what will we call it? Let's just say his shot. That'll be the mild consequence. So that's an aspect that any of you can invoke in the next round. I don't think you can invoke it on the same turn. It has one free invoke on it. So let's pop that in the keeper.
Okay. And I will pass it to Fadine.
All right. But just before you do that, I just want to say you smell the hounds. They're coming.
He's the master of the hounds, isn't he? It is the Wild Hunt. Yeah.
No, I think you know that someone else from the Wild Hunt is the master of the hounds.
Interesting.
Is that a invoke or
No,
sorry,
that's
not
just
a
something
compel?
that you notice, just some fiction.
Okay, cool.
I want to drop down to the sort of the duffel bag of equipment that I brought with me, zip it open, and I'm going to pull out the Green Knight's axe.
Oh, nice.
And swing that at him.
All right.
Because that at least should make him maybe think twice about this situation.
Okay, so
that is at least my hope.
Are you trying to create an advantage rather than an attack, or are you actually hitting him with it?
Oh, actually, yeah. I think I am going to create an advantage with fight because I can do that. And essentially, I'm like, I want to kind of terrify him here on this round here, or like I want to see some fear in his eyes.
All right.
So that is a 5.
Okay, so he will defend that using will, which he is quite strong-willed.
Fair enough.
So let's see how that goes. You succeed with style, so you get 2 free invokes on that aspect.
2 free invokes. Then I want like glimmer of fear. Because I mean, I don't think he's scared, but I think there's a moment, maybe he's a little upset here. And because I need those to be used up quickly, I'm going to hand it back to Maeve. You've got two. Pardon?
So just before you pass on the initiative.
Oh, yeah.
You see this glimmer of fear in his eyes, which are just barely visible through the slit in his helmet. That, is all you expected to get out of your, your wielding of the axe. But then you see his eyes break out into real fear. Like he's scared of something else that he anticipates, or something that he can feel coming. And you'll notice that I've added the wild hunt to the initiative order, so it's an option to pass the initiative to them as well at this point. What do you? So you're still happy to pass to me?
Still going to pass it to Maeve, because I think we need to really put a hurt on this guy. We may get torn up a bit, but we've got to do that.
All right, Maeve, what do you do?
I take another round at the shots at him.
All right. He begs for his life at this point. He's pleading at you not to shoot. Go ahead and roll your attack.
Another 5.
All right. He'll roll his defense. All right. He takes 2 shifts of harm. He's going to have to take a moderate consequence. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we don't even need to bother to invoke, because he's still going to absorb that much, right?
So what has he got? That's 2 shifts of harm. Another aspect will make it 4, which he'll be able to absorb. If you make it any more than that, he won't be able to absorb it, and he'll be taken out.
Burn both of those. Burn both of them.
I do that.
All right. So tell me what aspects you're using and how they figure into the fiction. Like, tell us what it looks like, because you are going to take him out here.
I think I'm. Yeah. Can I invoke the Glimmer of Fear twice on this roll, or?
Yeah, you can invoke an aspect with free invokes on it as many times as you like. You can invoke the free invokes on the same thing.
Okay, then yeah, I think Faerie has him distracted. He's scared of the axe. He's wide open, and I'm just headshot after headshot after headshot right into the back of his helmet or whatever.
Okay. He goes down. He crashes to the ground. He lies on the floor. The light in his eyes starts to fade. And it's not quite John Hurt in Alien, but his stomach starts to ripple open as a portal opens in his body. Maeve, who do you pass the initiative to?
Dr.
The
C.
huntsman will no longer have a turn. I'll just cross him off. Dr. C, you're out in the parking lot with Eileen. What do you do?
I think. Can I hear the baying of the hounds as well? Or I don't know.
I think you probably can. You have a bad feeling.
I have a bad feeling. I think
you know what else you can hear? You hear like it sounds almost like an earthquake from Owl's Head Mountain.
From the mountain itself.
Yeah, like behind you.
Okay. So I think we have to make for cover somehow. And I think I want to use my my stunt, the not a threat stunt, to try to create this idea that I'm unobtrusive. Don't pay any attention to me. I'm just moseying along to the mini mart for a chocolate bar. So how does that work again? Let me see. It's a DC roll. Okay. For creating an advantage.
All right. I think at this point there's no one in particular that you're trying to deceive, so we'll just set the opposition at 2.
Okay.
And Eileen is certainly kind of like, asking you what is going on, what was that thing, who are these people? All those
And I'm
kind of
saying,
reasonable kind of questions.
Reasonable questions, hysterical questions. We have to get to a safe place, I say. So act normal. And let's see if I can make this roll. It's a 4.
Yeah, so you succeed.
And so I think no one knows what our car is like. So what our car is at this moment, I don't think the huntsman or dogs or anything. So maybe I'm angling towards getting into the car unnoticed, I guess. That's with her.
All right. And then do you want to, it doesn't really make a difference because she's not actually going to take an action, but I think she will sorry, do you want to pass the initiative to her or to the wild hunt?
I can pass it to her.
All right. So she is going to kind of stop here and ask you what is going on? Why should I come with you? Who was that person, that thing?
It's a lot to take in, Eileen, but that thing is a servant of a supernatural power that clearly has it out for you. We just need to get you someplace safe. Please, trust me. We can hide out in the car for now until my friends come.
All right. So she accepts that. I've just added the names of the members of the Wild Hunt, but for this round, they're just going to act as one. There's the Wild Hunt. And what they're going to do is enter the zone of the truck stop. So you see 5 figures emerge from this portal in the huntsman's body. Let's see. The Master of Hounds, the Houndskeeper will come first. This bloody white face hanging in wisps of hair and darkness. This enormous body is corseted and bound in chainmail. And she screams out, "Mortals, leave!" as she manifests, dragging a couple of the hounds along behind her. The hounds themselves, there's 2 of them. They were once human. Now they wear these horrified, dried up faces made of human skin. And they're with Odin, who wears this kind of large ball gown with an enormous rippling hoop skirt and has 2 heads stacked vertically atop his neck, both sort of keening mournfully. And the Chimney, who has the body of a human, but its neck sort of sprouts out into a series of a half dozen little chimneys that are all belching oddly coloured smoke. They're going to occupy their turn just arriving in this world. But they did take the last turn in this round. So I think that the Master of Hounds will go first in this round. And she looks at the body of the huntsman and she looks around at all of you and she says, "Who did this?"
I say, I'll hoist the axe to my shoulder, and I don't say anything.
She says, "Well, the Queen is in your debt and will reward you for executing the traitor. Now, where is the princess?" And then,
What princess?
if you don't answer, she'll release the hounds and use this turn to try and create an advantage for the hounds. She won't answer what princess. Let's see. So she's going to roll to create an advantage with the hounds. If either of you, Maeve or Fadim, has an idea about what skill you might use to try and prevent her from doing that, you can roll to defend. I'm not quite sure what that would be.
I think that's mostly us kicking shit around in here. We're falling back, tables are getting kicked, things are getting thrown. We are trying to keep the hounds from gaining momentum here.
Okay. Well, she's rolled a 6. Do you want to roll fight to defend?
Yeah. That's a 6.
Hi, nice. Seems to me that with the arrival of the wild hunt, this is really a different scene. So I'm going to refresh my fate points.
You're so mean, but so
Come
right.
on.
So mean, but so right. I deserve that.
Let's see. She'll take a boost, I think, on the hounds. She'll be satisfied with a tie. Unless, do you want to use? I think you have one more fate point. Is that right? Or you're
no,
out?
I
no.
am out.
Okay. So she'll create a boost called the hounds on the trail. Let's see. She will pass the initiative to the hounds, and she says, "Find her." And the hounds will make an overcome action to try and figure out where Eileen is. So, Dr. C, I'll get you to defend this using stealth if you're okay with that. And let me just roll their notice roll first. All right, it's a 5 to find Eileen. Go ahead and roll.
So
Stealth.
I'm just curious how my stunt might interact with this situation.
Great question.
Let me just read it.
But yeah, I'm reading it as well.
Okay, so when you create the advantage with that skill to make yourself non-threatening or unobtrusive, enemies will find other targets for as long as the aspect exists. As soon as you successfully attack someone, the aspect goes away.
Oh,
So I don't know if that includes Eileen, though.
I don't really see that it does.
Mm-hmm.
The hounds are not going to target you. That's not
Right,
who they're looking for.
But they're looking for Eileen. Okay. So I should still roll a resistance?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think you have a free invoke on the aspect that you created, so you're welcome to use that as if you want once you've rolled.
Okay. Let's see. So that's stealth. Ooh, it's a 0.
All right.
Yep.
So, do you want to use fate points or aspects here?
I would have to do 3 of them in order to avoid this particular reality. Obviously I've established from last week that I'm no good at rerolls. So that's the superstition I'm sticking with. I could use the not a threat aspect. So if I did 3, then that would put me at 6. I would actually, they would
That would be a success.
That would be success, and we would be hidden from the hounds.
Look, I will warn you that I will probably use my fate points in that situation because they really want to find her.
Oh, right, yeah, and you've got tons new ones, right? Okay, so I'm not going to.
I wouldn't say tons. I have a reasonable amount.
You got a honeypot of fate points. Okay, so I will not use them then.
All
I
right.
guess.
So,
yeah, I guess I failed the resistance.
All right. So the hounds have used their actions to find her. They'll move to the petrol pumps, which is the zone that you're in as well. So they're positioned to attack in the next round if that's what they want to do. I think Eileen is again not going to do anything in this round, so we'll just skip her. But I think that the hounds will pass the initiative to you, Dr. C.
All right, so Dr. C is in the car with Eileen, and what do these hounds look like? Did you mention?
So they
Are they
look like
fearsome?
they were human once, but they're crawling on all fours.
Right.
And they wear these gruesome masks that look like the cover of the book from Evil Dead, withered human skin and teeth.
All right. Well, I guess Dr. C is gonna turn on the car and try to get the fuck out of there.
Fair enough.
Not that he's very good at driving.
Yeah. I think that you could probably just do that fictionally. Like if you're leaving your friends behind, then I don't think you need to roll for that because you will be able to outdrive. You don't drive faster than the hounds can run. So that'll just happen. In fact, you could probably consider that a concession and take a fate point for it if you're out of this scene.
Yeah, I guess so because I can't fight those hounds. Or I guess I could try to run them down. That's another possibility. But I think
Yes, you can attack using drive if you want.
I can attack using drive. This is a deja vu for Dr. C. The mission and the and his teammates. I think he'll take the concession then.
Okay, so as you peel out, Eileen is again like, what were those things? And then she sort of points in your rear vision mirror and says, and what's that? And you can see that something is coming down the mountain, something big enough to be like carving a path through the trees that's visible even at this distance at a tremendous speed. Are you just like putting distance between you and the truck stop? Is there somewhere in particular that you want to go?
I'm putting distance, and the new thing that's coming down the mountain, is it in my path or is it?
It's not in anyone's path at the moment. I mean, the road doesn't go like up the mountain.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just trying to put distance between me and the hounds, and if they give up, I can pull over. But that's for the moment. I'm just trying to get away.
Sure. And who will you pass the initiative to?
Let me just look at the order again. So Fadim.
Cool. So Fadim, what do you want to do? Concession is an option here, which just means that you leave, but you get a fate point, but you don't achieve your objectives in the scene. You're muted.
There are still some hounds here. They're kind of gathering to head out after Dr. C.
Well, the hounds are out in the parking lot, but yeah, there's a couple of them still there.
Then I am very pissed at myself. I'm very angry at myself. And I'm going to, I turn to Maeve and I go, follow my lead. And I'm going to, as someone once said, every window is a door if the hero is strong enough. And I'm going to go out the window and I want to break the petrol pumps. And I will mark a point of enchantment to use my fists of rage to shatter the petrol pumps so that there's gas in the air, and then I'll pass the initiative to Maeve. And such that I want to do an overcome. I'm trying to create a fiction such that you can create an advantage by classic fireball move. Is that okay, Maeve?
Yeah, works for me.
But let's see how well I do.
So I think maybe a difficulty of what, like 4 to smash enough petrol pumps for this to work?
That seems more than fair.
Oh, well,
that is a 7.
And sorry, that was an overcome action, is that right?
Yeah.
So you get a boost for that because you succeed with style.
Okay. Then I'll hand the boost off to Maeve for the create advantage. Essentially, I think it's raining gas. Hallelujah. Maybe something like that.
Amazing.
And I'll pass the initiative to Maeve.
All right. I'm gonna shoot all the gas puddles. Try to cause a big enough inferno to keep the hunt at bay.
Can I just understand fictionally where both of you are as this happens?
I am out by the gas pumps.
That makes
I'm
sense.
fully expecting to if I have to pay some costs here, and I deserve it. I deserve it
but-
because I'm a dumbass.
Like, are you running away, or have you just like smashed them and you're still right there?
I am backing away. I'm not running because if this doesn't go well, I need to follow up. So I probably I'm not right in the heart of it, but
Okay.
this is going to hurt.
All right. And what about you, Maeve?
I think I'm pretty close by her. Yeah, Fadium.
Okay. Well, and you're going to try and create an advantage by blowing up all the gas with your guns. So create an advantage using shoot. I think that this is going to be quite easy. So I'm going to give you a difficulty of 0. Like, I think that this is a pretty good plan. Like, if this is the outcome that you want.
3. So if I
So you-
invoke the free
well, you-
invoke, it'd be 5. Yeah.
There's no benefit to getting the free invoke because you're succeeding with
Ah.
style anyway. So the boost is still there. It is still raining gasoline. And what is the aspect what do you want to call the aspect of the exploding gas clouds? Or is that
Firestorm.
nice? All right, but you will have to pass the initiative back to the Wild Hunt. Will it be the Chimney or Odin who goes next?
Chimney.
All right. I mean, I think it makes sense fictionally that they will. Right. I think that the Wild Hunt is going to concede, which means that they. Well, I mean, I guess they have to do it turn by turn in case you want to try and take out any of them, but they're not going to try and come through that giant cloud of fire that you've just created. So they're going to back off and let you all get away for now. So
we will. I will definitely concede as well when it comes around to me.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really. Yeah, I guess that works.
Yeah.
So they'll use their turns. They'll pass the initiative until they've all conceded and left, and then the scene. I think that the scene is over. The two of you are left, scorched, standing on the edge of this raging fire. There are, the patrons of the truck stop have all fled. I don't think any humans were caught up in that blast. You're not sure if any of the Wild Hunt might have been burnt. You can see, in the far distance that Dr. C's, disappeared down the road. And you both notice further down the mountain than it was when Dr. C noticed it, something like burning a trail towards your position.
Let's make our way. Let's make our way there.
Towards the mountain.
Towards the mountain. I'm ready to take whatever punishment we.
Sounds good to me.
I'm so sorry I led you. That's on. And I just kind of stopped talking. I don't say anything the rest of the walk. I'm just ashamed and humiliated.
Are you going to walk, or are you going to try and like hotwire a car or something?
Well, I do have craft. Yeah, I guess I will. Because I've got a craft of 2, so yeah, I'll try and do that.
Oh,
Let's see if I'm terrible at this.
I think that's enough. You
Yeah, I was all blank.
Yeah.
The universe has decided not to give me any hint of what it feels. So
I think so. It's a tie. So you succeeded a minor cost. So I think that like you get it started, but you can see that it's low on petrol. So it's not going to get you too far. It'll get you towards the mountain. I feel a bit bad about the timing on this, lol, but I notice now it seems to me that maybe you self-compelled your seeking revenge, not salvation aspect in that scene. If you're if you want to take it as a self-compel, that's a fate point for you, but it will also be a checkbox on the Queen's towards the Queen's timeline because it's one of your enchanted aspects. Are you muted?
Damn it. Unfortunately, God, I think you're absolutely right. I will take the fate point, but only because it fits the fiction. Wow.
Right. And you've received a text message from Dr. C that just says, "Are you guys okay?" Sensitive as always, Dr. C. How do you reply?
I will let
Hey, I'm a
Maeve answer.
professional.
The hunt has left for now, I think is all I text back.
And I text back, shall I circle back for you?
No, for the love of God, keep your distance. Maybe read the woman in on what's happened.
And will you do that, Dr. C? And what will that look like? Is it the whole story? Is it some part of the story? Like, what will you tell Eileen?
Okay, so as this begins to happen, Dr. C is watching to see how traumatized Eileen is, because we also, as we were pulling out, we also saw the big explosion of the gas and the firestorm behind us. So I'm not sure exactly what her emotional state is right now and what she can handle.
Yeah. I mean, she starts to say that you should go back and see if anyone needs help. You know, she knows some of those people back there, that sort of thing. She seems pretty together though. She's quite composed.
Okay. So I say, I just texted my friends. They say the baddies are gone, but we can't go back there because it's still dangerous. But I just pull the car over onto the side of the road, and I just turn to her and I say, this is going to sound really crazy, but you've seen some crazy things already today. And so I think Dr. C is going to start doling out the truth in bits and pieces. I think, yeah, I'm not sure if he's aware of her Fey nature just yet. I know that Maeve was, but I'm not sure if Dr. C is. But he is obviously aware that she was the target. That was pretty obvious to everyone involved. And so I don't know why you've been targeted, I say, which is honest, but clearly you have been targeted by these beings, and we're trying to keep you safe because, and you know, I guess I'll say, there's this fairy queen. She's evil. She's trying to take over the world. It's the apocalypse if we don't avoid it. And so, how's she taking that?
She takes it. She doesn't look at you like you're crazy.
Okay.
She digests what you're saying. She's quite she's an empathetic listener. I mean, I think that you see that she has a look like some things are fitting into place for her. Like this doesn't seem completely crazy to her. And she'll say,
go ahead.
I used to dream sometimes about a fairy queen.
Were they pleasant dreams?
I mean, they were. I used to, I mean, I guess lots of kids have fantasies like this, but I used to think that I was really her child and that my parents had just adopted me somehow.
Really? And so now Dr. C is thinking about changelings because he is aware of that lore.
Yeah. So are you telling me that I really am the daughter of the Queen of the Fairies?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question, which is true. He doesn't. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. But if you are, then the Queen of the Fairies, unlike the fairy tales that you've read, is not a benevolent figure. She's not like a fairy godmother. she's out to for conquest. And I don't know if there's anything that Dr. C can show her. Yeah, I don't know that there is, other than his words. But she seems to be taking it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we can keep you safe for the moment, we can try to find out why you're being targeted.
All right. Do you play like? I think we'll wrap that scene there. But are you just going to keep the car sitting on the side of the road, or do you want to try and find somewhere you can hole up? Like, what's next?
Yeah, so I'm imagining. Oh, so we arrived straight in the truck stop. We haven't even found a place to stay yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell Eileen I don't think it's safe to go back to your place at the moment.
She will quickly call her parents to warn them to get out.
Mhm.
Have a pretty awkward conversation where they clearly don't understand what's going on, but she says, she finally convinces them.
Right.
And then complains, now my parents think I'm caught up in some weird drug thing.
Well, better they be a little bit worried than you be, than the alternative, which we don't want to get them involved in it all. And so I guess maybe I will actually call Maeve or Fadim to see how I can whether I should go find a spot to hole up in or try to rendezvous with them.
Oh, Nathan Fadim, what do you tell Dr. C?
There's something coming down from the mountain. We're going to talk to that. If we live through it, we'll meet up with you later.
All right, I'll take the girl and I'll find a motel for us. I'll text you the address.
Great. Oh, make sure to pull the batteries out of her phone and all that stuff, just in case they've got someone technological on their payroll.
Thanks, I'll make sure.
All right. So Maeve and Fadim, you get as close to the trail that this thing is laying down as you can. Then you have to get out and walk, and you see as it gets closer, trees are just launched through the air as it passes by. It is wreaking absolute havoc, and finally it comes to a stop in a clearing just in front of you. It's about 8 feet tall. It looks a bit like an ape, a bit like a bear, but with these enormous devil horns and tiny little feet. And it just sort of lets out this unearthly bellow, this awful noise, this cry. And it is going to make an attack with that cry, a mental attack. So I'm going to roll the attack. It has a stunt that lets it attack everyone in the zone. So that's going to be, I'll get both of you to defend after I roll this. All right, that's a 5. Fadim, can I get you to roll to defend using will? That's 1 mental stress. And Maeve? That would be 3 mental stress.
All right.
All right. And I guess we're back into an initiative order. So just for the 3 of you, it will pass the initiative to, who does it like the look of? I think it will pass it to Fadim first. What do you do?
I have a theory, and I would like to attempt to confirm that theory. I want to look at this with investigate.
Okay. What
to try and ask a question.
What's the question?
Is this the huntsman's pet?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll to investigate.
That's a 1. I will spend my fate point.
Do you want to see its opposition roll before you decide?
Yeah, actually, that's probably a good point.
All right, it's a 4, so it's beating you by 3.
So I can't even get up to that. I have no confirmation. So I throw my axe
Well,
down.
sorry, before you do that,
Yes.
do you want to see, can Maeve help with investigate? Can you offer a +1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Will that
Okay.
will that do
That
it?
will
That'll
allow
bring
me
you
to
to a
tie.
So success that puts you in a bad spot.
I
Is
will
that right?
take I will take a physical hit if I need to. Like I take a swipe from the claw as a
All right.
cost. I'll even how about I mark a minor consequence?
No, those all seem too tough. It's supposed to be something fictional, I think. I think that the opponent gets a boost. I think that that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Like you sort of pause, and that means that the devil gets a little bit of an advantage if it decides to attack.
Okay.
So sorry, I'm just going to fill that boost in on the track, on the tab. So you don't think that this thing is the huntsman's pet, but you do think that that's not its real form, that it's some sort of, I mean, it's almost like a costume or an illusion of some kind. There's something else underneath there.
Then I still will throw the axe down and put my hands up.
All right. Maeve, you're going to take the initiative because you're the only other one in the order. What do you do? Fadim, do you say anything to Maeve as you put your hands up?
I say, I don't think we're seeing what it is. I think it's something else. Please don't. I say, please don't shoot it.
Okay, I'm not shooting yet, but I'm like backing up with like sort of my gun ready, and the girl is safe. No harm will come to the princess. Just to see if the creature reacts.
Okay, I think it will react to that. It will allow its illusion to fade, and you see its real form as a small fey man. And it says, "She'd better be, because if you've done anything to my daughter, I'm going to kill you both."
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that's right. Now we'll cut to a commercial.
Oh my God.
Let's take a 5-minute break here.
This wouldn't have happened if we had Bear with us.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone ready to continue?
Yeah.
So I think that I'm going to suggest that we just bring everyone back together and that we have a scene where you and the Owl's Head Devil and have arrived back at the motel room where Dr. C and Eileen are waiting for you. Does that sound okay? Or is there a different way that you'd like it to play out?
I like that.
All right. So when you all get back together, there is a sort of teary look in the devil's eyes, seeing his daughter. And he wants to know who you all are and what are you doing here? Everything was fine until you showed up.
The situation has changed. The Queen is returning. We have seen it, and we have come back to stop it. We have fought her in New York. We have fought her in Berlin, and this is the last stop before she returns and rises. We thought that the huntsman had come at the Queen's behest to kill her. I was wrong, and I made a terrible mistake.
Wait, we know that?
Yeah.
He takes that in and he says, I mean, you weren't totally wrong. The huntsman was sent to kill our daughter. I'm sorry, sort of mutters that he's sorry that they're meeting like this. But he couldn't bring himself to do it. He told the Queen that he killed her. He left her in this town where he thought she would be hidden and safe. I was in exile, so I came here to watch over her, make sure that she stayed safe. Not sure why he came back, but maybe it's linked to what you say that the Queen is returning.
They said he was a traitor, and I suspect that he was here to get her out of here. When he so that is neither here nor there. The hunt is around and about, and have her sent.
Can you fight?
Yes.
He looks at you, Dr. C, and says, can you fight?
I'm not as soft as I look, and I'm very hard to hit, but I can come in useful in a fight sometimes.
Dr. C, as we do, has resources. Show him the book.
Lifts Baba Yaga's book. And then he looks aside and said, but why does the Queen want the princess now? She doesn't seem the sentimental type.
She's wanted the princess dead since the day she was born. She doesn't want an heir. She doesn't want anyone who could challenge her right to the Fae crown.
And he turns to Eileen and said, you see, I told you she was not a fairy godmother.
I'm getting that impression.
But your father seems nice.
Well,
how do we protect the princess?
He looks at you blankly. I tried to keep her hidden, but the wild hunt, if they have her scent, they won't stop. They'll keep coming. If there's anything in that book that could help us, now's the time.
The only thing would be the horns.
The horns will get you out of any situation if you blow them hard enough.
I'd rather not rely on the goodwill of Baba Yaga if we can't help it.
Hey, she hasn't steered us that wrong before, Maeve, has she? The book has come in handy. Remember the scene in the plaza in Berlin. That was helpful to have the true name of Rumpelstiltskin. Oh, I shouldn't have said it out loud. Poor thing.
The devil will kind of say, look, my skills are in illusion and trickery. I might be able to hold them off, buy you time if there's somewhere that you want to get to that they, if they have a scent, they are going to find you unless you figure out a way magically to stop that. So think about where you want to make your stand. That's my only suggestion.
Why does the queen want her dead? Like, I mean, is she a threat to the queen?
Well, I mean, she could challenge the queen for the crown. That's the threat that the queen truly fears.
She's going to have to.
Eileen at this point will say, I'm an 18-year-old truck stop waitress from a town of 300. I can't. I mean, what you're talking about is crazy.
Don't you want to be the queen of Faerie? That would be cool. You wanted to get out of this truck stop, you told me. This is one way.
That does silence her. That gives her pause.
If
You
the
wanted a more exciting
queen,
life.
if the queen is permitted to rise, a substantial percentage of humanity dies that day, and more later, and most of the rest live in slavery or exile. The Fae take over. They slaughter with their armies. That's why we are here.
I think that the devil will say, look, if you make it to Faerie, there are forces and powers there that would like to see the queen replaced. If you find the Goblin King, he's a lesser noble in Faerie, but
We've met the Goblin King, I say. Because he was at the thing, wasn't he? Wasn't the Goblin King at the, or was that somebody else? I thought we interacted with somebody that served the Goblin King.
you've met some goblins, but I don't think that you have met the Goblin King himself.
There were goblins at the museum.
Yeah.
Then I suspect that's what we're going to have to do, is find our way through. Is the mountain closer to the ferry than here?
No, I mean the huntsman chose this town because the veil between worlds is the strongest here. It's very difficult to pass to Faerie from here.
Then we are going to have to leave to go. I don't know. I'm not a wise person. I looked at Dr. C actually like with real desperation in my eyes. Like I don't know what to do. And I kind of look at you and I look at the books and I go,
Well, I could try to find in the book, if you think we have time, I could try to find something that would take us to the Goblin King in Faerie. If you think that's wise to enter Faerie at this point and look for an ally against the Queen. Maeve, you're making a face like you think it's the stupidest idea I've ever come up with. Do you think so?
No, sorry, that wasn't about you.
Oh, okay. So I can sit down with the book. Maybe someone could help me. What was that bear? Oh, Maeve has lore, doesn't she?
Just the 1 point, so I can help, but
you
not
can
much
help.
more.
You can help.
Right. I think that the book will want to help you here, so it'll just be a difficulty 2 lore roll to find a relevant spell.
That's a 5.
All right. So that's a success with style. So if you want, you can take a boost, but I think I might just give you a spell with a reduced casting time that might be more useful for you as your bonus here.
We're in a hurry.
Yeah. So I think that the simplest thing is there's a ritual on the sorcery tab already called Step Through Time that takes an hour. Let's say that there's also one to create a portal that sort of works in the same way, but with a casting time of a minute rather than an hour. It's going to be at +2 opposition if you cast it here, so it probably makes more sense to get out of town before you do that. But that's an option.
All right, I found a spell. It will be a little more difficult to cast here where the veil is so thick. But if we get out of town, and let me just, can I, so now I've had a conversation with the Owl's Head Devil and he's told me stories. Does Dr. C detect any deception on the owls in the devil?
No, you think that he's being honest.
Okay.
You sense that he's a trickster by nature, but he's being honest with you.
Okay. Good. So if we're committed, then let's get out of town before the hounds catch us and open this gate and go to Faerie.
They're getting close. You should go now. Give me a minute to talk to my daughter.
Of course. So we just move to the side.
So they exchange some words, some tears are shed. They have a loving embrace. And he says, all right, I'm going to hold off the wild hunt as long as I can, but they will come for you. And you understand that he's saying that he's giving his life to buy you some time. And he says, make sure that my daughter is safe.
We promise.
Give our lives before we let anything happen. Or at least I will.
All right, Eileen.
Right.
It's time to get out of town.
So you start driving away. He gets ready for his last stand. She is pretty quiet. She's digesting quite a lot that's taken place over the last couple of hours. Tell me about the place that you drive to do the ritual.
Lowell has an idea.
I think we have to head towards like the Appalachians themselves. That's old, deep, dark god country. It's got to be closer to the land of the Fae.
Into the mountains.
So you get up there. You're ready to cast your ritual. So the way a ritual works is that one person is going to be the lead caster. They're going to have to make the law roll to get it to work. Anyone else with law of at least +1 can participate. That will reduce the opposition that you're rolling against by 1. And it will also reduce the amount of and everyone who participates will have to roll to defend against backlash, just like any other magic. But the difficulty of the backlash will also be reduced by 1 for each participant. Okay. So I think that means that Dr. C will be the lead caster and Maeve may be able to help.
I'm so glad Bear isn't here to argue with me because he was going to, but he really is here.
No, let me do it. I should do it.
I should take it. No,
No.
you're too soft, Duxie. Um,
Um,
and we'll assume that Bear's with us anyways.
Right.
But okay.
so,
So
Maeve, are you comfortable being part of the ritual?
Yes, sounds good to me.
So you'll both mark 1 enchantment for using the magic. And I would love for just each of you to narrate a little detail about, what the ritual consists of or what you're actually doing. Dr. C, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think, yeah, so we've gone into the mountains. And so I imagine it's twilight. That would be the appropriate time. And I imagine we're in a grove of trees, a clearing that seemed appropriate for this ritual. And we're focusing the ritual on the space between 2 trees and trying to make the portal appear within the space between those 2 trees. And yeah, and I imagine that Dr. C is standing with the book open because he has to recite the ritual from the book. Yeah, and I'll stop there, and other people can add more.
And yeah, Maeve, what do you do as part of the ritual?
I think I'm I don't know, preparing the space, I guess, drawing whatever symbols need drawn, that sort of thing.
Like carving them into the tree trunks or something? That sounds
Mhm.
cool. Fadim, is there anything that you're doing while the others prepare the spell?
I am standing watchman at this in case something happens.
Right. So Dr. C, you're going to be rolling against opposition of +7 because you have 1 person helping you and the regular opposition is 8. The Maeve can help you, so that's a +1 to your law roll. And yeah, go ahead and roll to see if the ritual works. All right, 6. So if you have an aspect or a fate point to use here, that will bring you up to a success. Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just look at the timeline aspects. I think, could I invoke the enemy of my enemy as my friend in the
Nice.
sense that the book is helping us?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Good old Baba Yaga.
All right. So the good news is that means that the ritual will work. The drawback is that you both have to defend against the opposition that you rolled to resist backlash. The difficulty or the opposition for the backlash roll is reduced by 1 for each participant. So that's reduced by 2 altogether. So you're going to be rolling to overcome using will against an opposition of 6. Dr. C, you want to go first?
Sure thing.
And effectively, this is an attack, so you're going to take the difference as mental stress.
All right, it's and I take it it's a will roll.
Yes.
It's a 4.
So that will be 2 shifts of mental harm, mental stress, sorry, unless you want to use a fate point here.
I guess it's 6 1 half dozen the other, but I'll sure, I've got lots of fate points, so I'll use one. The Iron Fist in a velvet glove. He's sturdier than he looks.
Right.
That'll even it out.
Cool. And Maeve, roll with will to resist 6 mental stress.
Will do.
All right, so that's going to be 4 mental stress. You want to use any fate points or aspects?
No, I'll just take the 1 consequence and 4 stress.
Well, it's just 4 stress. You wouldn't take a consequence if you can take the 4 mental stress.
Oh, then I'll do that. Yeah. Okay.
All right. And I mean, tell me what you notice. I'll ask each of you. You're still standing on a mountainside, but what is the detail that you notice that tells you that you're now in Faerie? Start with Fadim, because you were standing back to watch everything that was happening.
I think it's a smell. Like, I think the wind turns and the wind is now hot. And I think that there is a like I think that at one point in her life, Fadim went to a place like in Paris where they were doing like tanning with those things, and I think that sort of that reeking smell of a tannery kind of rolls across here in a hot wind.
Nice. Dr. C, what do you notice that tells you you're in Faerie now?
I'm thinking maybe a sound, like the sound of goblins live in caves, don't they? Or
You tell
maybe I'm
me.
just yeah, maybe I think goblins. Maybe I'm thinking about kobolds, maybe, but like they're miners. But the sound of little pickaxes on what do you call it, on rocks, and also in the darkness behind through those 2 trees we see the opening to a large cave with some faint lights coming from inside.
Nice. And Maeve, what about you? What tells you that you're in Faerie now?
I think it just sort of feels intensely familiar in a way that makes me very uncomfortable.
Nice. And Eileen sort of lets out a gasp and says, "Oh my God." And you see that she's now wearing a beautiful bejeweled tiara and a fine white gown. And I think holds a scepter that again is sort of elaborately bejeweled.
Dr. C looks up from his book and says, "Well, maybe I'm your fairy godmother."
Nice.
So I think that we might wrap up here for today. This seems
That's
like
a great end
good break
line.
point.
That's, yeah.
Awesome. So let's see. I'm going to stop the recording and we can do some stars and wishes.